Hello and welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. I'm Johnny Venerable, and we're joined today by Bo Brock, Damien Anderson. Bo, back better than ever in studio. Gentlemen, I was excited about doing live shows this week. Bo was in town for good. And then yesterday we got some more than horrific news. After last week, with everything that had gone on in Texas, heavy hearts with the families of the victims there, we got word that Jeff Gladney, cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals, signed this offseason, had been killed in a car accident. And, we wanted to take time to pay respects. We didn't have a show yesterday because of Memorial Day. So, gentlemen, first of all, welcome and your initial reaction to everything that went on yesterday with Jeff.
Just shocking, devastating to see somebody so young lose their life, just perish. It was to see the news, and some of our great followers tweeted it at me, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, Jeff Gladney passed away in his early 20s, just signing a contract, pretty lucrative deal for Jeff Gladney, who was out one season and high expectations for the team. But it's just one of those things where you're just like, who cares about the game of football? I mean, this young man lost his life, and somebody was in the car with him, also perished in the wreck. And it's just one of those things where you realize how secondary beyond, like, football just doesn't matter. It's this poor guy lost his life, and you're hearing all the great stories about how he had just purchased a home for his mother, and every kid wants to live that dream out. And he was able to give that to her before he passed, which is just rips your heartstrings even more. But prayers to the Gladney family, his friends, and just brutal and devastating news.
Yeah, guys, I just think for me, I mean, it's just a lot. I think, one, you realize how precious life is. I think you also realize, I think immediately my heart and mind go towards his family and what they went through, from a personal experience being involved in a car wreck, and my son being roughly 2 at the time, my wife, her 24-year-old husband, father of her son, in the ICU for like 17 days. And then just thinking about them, right? And just thinking about his family and his loved ones. And then from the standpoint of myself being a player, because you don't want to think about these things. Like we had 2 players pass while I was there. One was, unnecessary, gun violence, got shot by a cop. And 2, Rashidi Wheeler passed on the field. And I think initially it's shock. And there's nothing that can grasp or get you to, realize. I mean, it's obviously, your emotions are strong, but immediately it's just like, to this day, like, everything that happened brought me back to thinking about, my family and Rashidi Wheeler's family, and ultimately Gladney's family. Like, I mean, that's more than anything. I mean, as Bo said, football's trivial. The game, it's very small in the game of life, but his family and the impact of losing someone so soon, and you know what he meant. I mean, to play in the NFL, to be a first-round draft pick, he was the shining star. Is the shining star of that family, but it's devastating. I think it's not only, it has ripple effects throughout the football community, but I know his family is still in shock given the news.
I want to get to some of these blurbs. This is from CBS Sports, a little bit more information on what exactly took place. So Gladney, he, as we mentioned, passed away in a car accident. The accident took place, according to reports, 2:30 a.m. on Monday morning. He was in Texas. And we'll get to why he was there here in a minute, and who he flew on a plane with en route to Texas. Gladney, according to this, was one of 2 victims in the crash. As of now, the second victim hasn't been identified. Prayers go out to that individual's family, and the cause of the crash remains under investigation. There were actually 2 vehicles involved in the crash. Thank goodness. The second vehicle, I presume that Gladney's vehicle clipped. Those individuals were not injured, mostly unscathed, according to this. They did hit a beam. It looks like Gladney's car, and it did catch fire. Just horrific details. The Cardinals put out their official statement yesterday. We're devastated to learn of Jeff Gladney's passing. Our hearts go out to his family, his friends, all who are mourning this tremendous loss, the team wrote. And then this, many Cardinal fans took to social media yesterday. Isaiah Simmons, also Eno Benjamin. He posted this 2 hours ago on his Instagram story. Valley native Eno Benjamin, missing you fully. Took the same flight to Texas this weekend. Was looking forward to our flight back last night so we could chop it up about the weekend. Maybe show me some of the new pics of the crib you just brought your mom. As Bo just mentioned, you will forever live in the city of Dallas. So just horrifically sad. Damien, I want to pose it to you. So, this happens, and Bo and I were talking about this off air. Watching video of him last week on the practice field, it's like surreal because he was being ingratiated. He was well liked, presumably. He looked like he was turning his life around after being out of football for a year for the knock for domestic dispute, and now he's gone. How do players react as they go back to OTAs, which presumably are still on track to start tomorrow for the Cardinals?
I think time, given the circumstances, right? I guarantee you the Cardinals provided some type of resources or just assistance during this time, whether it's time off. I think given the circumstances, everything is understandable. I think, Johnny, just like you're different, Bo and I are different. Everybody mourns differently.
Yeah.
Some externally, some keep it in. But I think the great thing about sports is that you have to take a step forward. It's going to be, hard. As I said, I think back to when I was in college and losing, teammates because it's something that I just didn't want to remember, or didn't want to, think about. And all you can do is just do what you know to do, control what you can, as simple as it is. And that's respect and value your brother by, paying it forward and being a good human being, good man, and a good football player, and giving it your best effort, because that's the only way that you can essentially go through it and honor him is by, being better every, day, every opportunity that you have. And I think that that's what Gladney was doing, as you mentioned, Johnny, with the Arizona Cardinals. He was putting his best foot forward.
Yeah, and it just feels so unfortunate that, obviously he was a young father. He had his son just turned 1 year old, and we don't get to see Jeff Gladney, the father, that play out. We don't get to see the son. He just bought his mom that house, as we mentioned, and we don't get to see this former first round pick flourish at the NFL level, do something that he was great at, something that got him tabbed as a first round pick out of TCU. It's just so many things when somebody's taken this young, that it just feels like all that potential that we saw in a player caliber of Jeff Gladney in person that's, was taking, solid steps forward. It's just unfortunate. It's just one of those things where you can't help but wonder, what if, this guy got, a few more years.
This is a football show, but the personal side of it is undeniable. But just from a football standpoint, this was a signing that a lot of Cardinal fans were excited about. This is a guy who got a stamp of approval from Mike Zimmer, showed a lot of promise as a rookie, and then, of course, missed all of last year. But I remember, and I know I've talked about this before, we were driving in to do our day 2 show of the NFL draft coverage, and Keim was on local radio and was raving about Jeff Gladney and the person and the player, and the fact that they felt like this was a guy that they had signed to a 2-year contract that I believe, based on his comments, based on where they had him graded back in that 2020 draft, like this, it would not have surprised me if he had stuck around and gotten another contract with this team and been a staple in the secondary. And you hear Budda Baker's comments about this is one of the most, if not the most talented secondary that he's been around. I think Jeff Gladney was a big part of that. So you're gutted because you lose somebody that I firmly believe was ascending both as a player and a person. We didn't know him as a human being yet, and we were robbed of that, because I really do believe he's somebody that everybody loves a comeback story, and you redo and you revitalize your image, and he was acquitted by the courts in March. I mean, it's not like he served the sentence then came free. I mean, it was determined that, by the courts he was innocent, and the Cardinals took a chance on him. And so it just, as you mentioned, Bo, leaving behind his son. You hope that, they're financially secure with the money he made in the NFL, that young man's going to be set up for a good long while. But it can't replace losing your father, who by all accounts seemed incredibly well liked. Somebody that, again, we were robbed of getting to know.
And he was clearly endearing himself to his teammates. Benjamin, as he mentioned, they were on the same flight from Phoenix to Dallas, and he's on the offensive side of the football. I'm sure his position mates, as you mentioned, Budda Baker, really impressed by this defensive secondary, just where their headspace is going into a situation like tomorrow with OTAs. That here was a guy they were on the field with, they were working out with, preparing for the season, and he's not there any longer. Like I'm wondering like how the Arizona Cardinals will approach that. And I'm sure they've got some plans in place to do so, because this is not an injury. I mean, this is as we said, football's trivial compared to this. This is somebody losing their life.
Yeah, it's tough on every level, and I think the unique thing about football or sports is that it allows you to just connect, right? Like everyone's one team, but if you hear someone talking country, like, oh, maybe he's from Texas or down south somewhere, you'll connect with them. Or you hear somebody, talking East Coast and you're from the East Coast. And there's just so many things that you navigate or gravitate towards guys of your similar interest. And to be from, I think anyone that knows a teammate from the state of Texas is very proud, right? Mm-hmm. We all are, but they do it a little bit, everything bigger in Texas. And I just think that, as I said earlier, every player is going to mourn, differently. Bo, to your point, I think the Cardinals will definitely recognize Gladney in some capacity, like as through something visual, or have a number on on the team helmets, or or on their jersey. I think that some homage or respect and love of just the opportunity and of the reason. I mean, that just says it all to get that second chance. And we know Steve Keim has been great of evaluating pro talent and giving guys, guys that are maybe had a down year or two or something happen, and revitalizing careers. I mean, we've seen it with Carlos Dansby and Jonathan Abraham. We, just to name, not to date myself, but to name a few guys over the years.
You're dating yourself, you're dating us as well. I remember all those guys kicking the tires on those guys, man, and having big seasons. Los and Abraham, he had double-digit sacks coming back and playing for the Cardinals, at least for one season, and then had an unfortunate event himself.
Well, I mean, even Carson.
Yeah.
I mean, even just throwing out there, even Carson Palmer. I mean, he was playing at the elite level, but I don't think that everyone questioned whether it would be his health or could he sustain, could he play a whole season, or was he the guy that he was with Ocho Cinco? And I think that Steve does a great job of identifying guys that, as a pro, they've showed who they are, and hey, we got a great opportunity to get a deal. And Gladney was a guy that was definitely had a bright future.
We're inevitably, getting questions about how does this affect the cornerback room, and with all due respect to that, guys, incredibly premature. I mean, it's May. The Cardinals season doesn't start till September, and so there is ample time to make any kind of roster additions, whether it be in the secondary or otherwise. I think today, most importantly, is about honoring Jeff's memory, talking through it with anybody here in the chat, in the comments that want to pay your respects. And just celebrate, his brief success with the Cardinals, because it was a success to be able to come back and be with this team and rebuild his career. And again, we were robbed of being able to get to know him more quickly, because this is a sponsored podcast. We have to do some reads. So I want to remind everybody, the NBA champ is about to be crowned. Join the finals action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 bet and get $150 in free bets instantly. Looking to turn another small bet into a big payday during the NBA Finals with DraftKings Same Game Parlay. You can do just that. This season, a customer placed a $5 Same Game Parlay and won over $5,000 on DraftKings. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets, like which team will win, total threes made, total rebounds, and more, and boom, you have your shot at an even bigger payout. It's a call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code PHNX. Make any $5 bet during the NBA Finals. Get $150 in free bets instantly. It's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, 21 and over. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customer only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details.
All right, moving off the tragic news of Jeff Gladney losing his life over the weekend. Obviously, we're thinking about his family at this time and not thinking about this Cardinals roster going forward, as Johnny mentioned. But let's talk about OTAs kicking back off tomorrow. Johnny, Damien, we did this once. Kyler Murray going to be there tomorrow?
I'll let Damien go first. Damien, you give us your on-the-record prediction as to
my
if
on the
we see
record.
K1.
Yeah, it's not mandatory. I don't foresee him showing up, Bo,
Yeah.
unless he's getting paid. I just think at this point, we talked about it. The Cardinals have done their good faith moves, but I think now it's just a circumstance and timing thing. And until he gets that check, he ain't booking that flight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not booking that flight. He's not coming back. I wanted something to rhyme there. It just didn't work. Guys. I'm not good at freestyling. Sorry.
It's a long holiday weekend. You knocked the rest off here. I can tell you, Hollywood Brown is the differentiator. I've been checking Hollywood's Instagram a lot lately, partially because I have no life, but also because if Hollywood's there, I believe Kyler Murray's going to be there. And Hollywood posted some workouts that were not around Phoenix. I don't believe. I think he's still in Texas. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I think also no. What's the benefit at this point other than, after this whole thing with Jeff Gladney, even though Kyler didn't know Jeff, we don't presume he wasn't in OTAs last week with him, maybe trying to help some teammates get through this, which would be admirable. But I just think from a business standpoint, as you mentioned, Damien, there's not a cost associated with it. It's not mandatory. I'm going to go ahead and say he is absent again tomorrow, Bo.
Yeah, we've got 2 more rounds of the voluntary stuff. So tomorrow and next week, and then as Daniel's mentioning, June 14th, that's mandatory. That's when that's when we could maybe start to see that panic button, and we got our hand maybe hovering over it. Then you click it if he's there or he's not there and he doesn't have that new deal. Then the Arizona Cardinals have to hurry up and make a deal. But speaking of contracts, Darrel Williams made his deal official. 1 year. Jalen Samuels, the former Pittsburgh Steelers running back who they signed to a future contract this offseason, he's been released. And we also saw former Bears defensive lineman Keim Hicks, who's been tied to the Arizona Cardinals all offseason long. He reached a 1 year, $10 million deal with the Buccaneers, which might spell the end for a guy like Ndamukong Suh. Is it a missed opportunity on Hicks? And does Suh become maybe somebody that the Arizona Cardinals could pursue? Starting tomorrow, Jordan Phillips' contract is off the books. They got a little bit more cap money to deal with. You like Suh, or you think it was a missed opportunity with Hicks?
I think it was a huge missed opportunity for Hicks. Keim Hicks, I believe former team captain, one of the greatest Bears of all time, according to the Chicago Tribune, somebody that I think would have fit beautifully up front on the defensive line. I don't think they want Ndamukong Suh. Same reason I think they didn't want Jadeveon Clowney. A little bit concerned about the human being. I think Suh could help this team.
I think still character issues with Suh.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Outplayed that.
He's a me guy, and I think they want we guys, and that's part of the reason I heard among a shoulder concern that and banged up wear and tear for Clowney. Hicks was the guy I thought that they could make a run at, but a lot of these guys are getting snatched up before the end of the month. We talk about defensive linemen, we talk about pass rushers. There still are some left, and they're going to have to address the secondary as well now. But I think $10 million, probably the Brady effect. Probably Keim's like, I've been in Chicago. We've lost a lot of games recently. I want to go try to chase a ring. Cardinals might have had to go 12, 13, 14, but I would have paid it, especially what you just basically swap out Jordan Phillips for Keim Hicks, and they couldn't be more dissimilar in terms of their play style and their ability. You got one guy who's living on IR and is kind of 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out, and Keim Hicks is the ultimate team guy. So it's unfortunate. I'm not sure why the complacency is still active, although we have it sourced. I think now Keim is officially on vacation in Cabo, or at least he was as of a few days ago. He is on vacation, so doesn't mean deals can't be done, Damien. But yeah, he took off for Mexico, I believe, last week.
They got Wi-Fi now.
They do.
They got Wi-Fi. If he's on a power yacht, I mean, he's the GM of the team in the in the NFL. Like, they have the capabilities to do long-term remote sessions and get a Kyler Murray deal done. Do I think that it's planning? It's a timing. They have a specific day. I know that. What was it? The day in June, Bo? June
14th.
First.
Well, by June.
Okay. Right. What are we talking about here?
No, mandatory.
Yes,
mandatory.
14th.
14th. Okay. So with that, obviously we know that he could get fined if he doesn't show up with that. But we've also seen in the past where guys show up, obviously that money's recouped and they sign a big deal 2 or 3 days later. So I don't know. I think that they're always talking. To me, it's not one thing or another. I think that the world's very virtual now.
Yeah.
They could communicate, get a deal done, whether it's text, email, whatever, video, voice, whatever it is, they can get a deal done. And Keim being on vacation is just, he doesn't have to see the office every day. He gets to see something beautiful and gets to detach a little bit, but he's always connected, man.
He might be connected to Wi-Fi, but wifey is going to make sure he's not working
Oh
while
my
he's in
God.
combo.
That is the
Yeah.
biggest dad joke.
Yeah, not making them M's. Not making them
man.
M's.
That's
when
good
you're making
stuff.
them M's, it changes things. Changes things a little bit.
A little bit more, higher priority.
Yeah, like, baby, I got to take this call. I got to take this call.
I got to shore up our defensive line depth. We've got some comments here I want to get to. Daniel says, and I echo this, man, I'm a little bit worried about the defense. I think, and I put this on Twitter today, the offense, especially when Hopkins comes back, I think we all expect it to be, long as everybody stays healthy, health permitting, the top 10 unit, top 5. Defensively, there are significant holes at every level. And I look at it very much as a tightrope act because, J.J. Watt and Zach Allen are nice. It's a nice combination, but, 3 or 4 games in, both those guys could be banged up and miss time. Then what do? You got issues with no Chandler Jones. You got issues with the unknown and inside linebacker. You got issues with inexperience in the secondary. To me, if I'm Steve Keim, I am looking for 3 to 4 moves over the course of the next 2 months to really supplement because this defense, to me, it could go one of 2 ways. Vance Joseph could come out of next season and people could be lauding the job he did, getting the young guys acclimated, right? Carrying a defense, helping them get to the postseason. Or I think the wheels could fall off really quickly, especially if the offense doesn't pick up the slack and the offense is kind of middling without DeAndre Hopkins and you're trying to, acclimate Hollywood Brown and then they look to the defense to get a few stops. I'm more than concerned about the makeup, not only of the starting group, but the depth behind it.
First off, Johnny, put some respect on J.J. Watt's name. If he's healthy, the dude is a manimal.
Put that on a t-shirt. If he's healthy,
he changes things. We know that the Arizona Cardinals have hedged their bets. It's 80-20 offense with a healthy Kyler Murray.
Which is the right decision, by the way.
You think
that's
so?
the right decision? Oh yeah, in today's NFL,
we've seen it work in the past. I mean, I'm a big Kyler Murray fan. I just missing that piece and seeing how the downtrend towards the end. That's the only thing concerning offensively. Those 6 games, I know that we've talked about it before. Out of the 9, whatever they have to go out of the first 9 games, whatever it is. To me, Kyler Murray has to play. Out of his body. We know that Kyler Murray is good, but he has to play out of his body good. Where we think of levels like Aaron Rodgers, like literally no name receivers, and I'm going to go into Arizona and beat you at your home field, and I don't care what your record is. Like, that's how Kyler Murray has to play this game. And when you want $40+ million a year, that's the expectation. Like, I'm sorry, like that's the expectation. No one's gonna, make excuses to reasons why it didn't happen. What they're gonna do is try and hold you accountable. Like, as I said, I'm the biggest Kyler Murray fan as they come. I always root for the underdog. Dude's under 5'8" and he has a cannon arm. I'm joking. He's 5'10". He's 5'10". I'm gonna give him his 5'10". But the dude can play.
Next to him. Is he 5'10"?
Yes,
ish.
I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
I've stood next. I'm not saying I haven't stood next to him, but he is taller than me, so I don't have a good litmus
6
test.
foot.
I mean,
he's really big. He's a big kid. So I just go. I look to others that he's taller than to be able to give me a definitive answer.
No,
Plus, he's always in cleats when I'm with him.
I think his size or his height, it really isn't like an issue anymore. Right. Like, after so many years in the league, he's not Doug Flutie. All respect to Doug Flutie. He's not that. He's next level. And I think that he's going to be compensated, right? Doesn't matter. Steve Keim's on a yacht, wherever he is, or living it up in wherever, some beautiful place that he can afford to go. But I think Kyler Murray is going to get taken care of, but we need him to go Super Saiyan mode. Like, we need him to go out of his body, godlike, and do what he does in order for this Arizona Cardinals team to have a chance due to all those reasons that you mentioned, Johnny, on defense. Some glaring holes, big issues. Now more than ever, Kyler Murray needs to go Super Saiyan and do what he does.
When you want to be in that pay grade, you have to be able to take your game to the next level. I mean, that goes with what job you want there. And if you want to make $40+ million as a quarterback, you do have to be able to take your game to the next level. Cliff Kingsbury knows that the Cardinals go as Kyler Murray goes. Now Kyler Murray, I hope he knows that as well. So yeah, without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the season, it's going to fall on number one's shoulders for the most part to get Hollywood Brown acclimated and up to full speed right out of the gates and be that wide receiver one that he needs to be without Nook. And then also you've got, a ton of options on offense. What's going to be key, though, for that success is the development of the young guys on the defense. We know Buddha can play. We know J.J. Watt. Hopefully you'll see an uptick in the sack numbers because what do you have, 1 sack last year?
Yeah.
I know he's
Baker Mayfield.
It was beyond the box score what he was doing, but now
was.
you have to get that quarterback on his back more often. But you got to see the development of Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons. That's going to be key for this defense.
Huge.
To kind of hold serve a little bit, not completely fall off a cliff from the production it had last season and where it's going to go this season without Chandler Jones. And, it's Byron Murphy and it's Marco Wilson in the secondary.
Guys, I think in years past, we've seen like draft picks, with the exception of a few guys, come in there and make that immediate impact. I think this year more than ever, they're going to be counting on guys like McBride or counting on those two defensive end outside linebackers to play at a more at early part of the year, where we've seen in years past where they've, special teams here and there. They got, dudes in those positions and, they play them situationally. I think they're going to be thrown in there because with the expectation of like, hey, we need you guys to play. And it's going to be a great opportunity to them. But as we know, the unknown's a bit scary and it's nothing like the opportunity. That's a game of football. It's going to show you who the guys are for sure.
Totally agree.
It's heating up outside. COVID-19's free. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. You want to stay safe. You want to stay healthy. You want to stay cool. Those 12 and older now eligible for the booster. Let's do the right thing. Keep everyone safe. We'll get together, watch all the NBA finals are going to tip soon. You've got the NHL playoffs continuing. You want to continue to enjoy these great events. Go out to the bars, enjoy some nice drinks. Go to azhealth.gov/find vaccine location near you.
So if you want to do a lot of close talking, which I know a lot of people do, at a lot of watering holes. What was the line? Oh,
which one for the COVID-19?
Yeah,
vaccine?
yeah. What's the site?
Just go visit azhealth.gov for location.
Close talking.
Yeah, find azhealth.gov
there
for location near you.
There it is. There it is.
We're still in OTAs too here on PHNX Cardinals. I wasn't ready.
No, it was. I mean, you got to pick it up, bro. That was behind the back. We got to be able to get that.
The GM is disgusted. He's in the room.
You got to be. We had a fast break, bro.
And I
threw it off the
Daniel
backboard.
Jones. Yeah,
and
fell on my face.
He just kept running through it like, oh my god, it's all good, man. It's all good. We're gonna get it together.
Want to join everybody or welcome everybody who's joining us as we celebrate the memory of former Arizona Cardinal cornerback Jeff Gladney. Lost his life at the age of 25 yesterday. Again, sending out thoughts and prayers to his family, his son, his young son, also the other victim in the car crash who we're not sure who that individual was, still unidentified. We don't want to rush to judgment on who that may or may not be, speculatory talk. So horrific tragedy. We've had our fair share of tragedy here in the last couple of weeks, but it helps to reflect in a group setting like this. I thank everybody for coming and taking some time to pay respects, to talk about this, to talk and celebrate what Jeff was in the process of doing. Want to make sure everybody likes, subscribe, leave this podcast a 5-star review if you could. Go to gophnx.com, become a member, And then I think Bo's got one more ad read for us as well.
Absolutely. Tell you about our partner, OGs. OGs is Arizona's first original scratch-made cannabis kitchen and is dedicated to creating innovative and memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journey. Quality of the products stem from the combination of accurate dosing and amazing flavor. Edibles, not a one-size-fits-all thing. So that's why OGs is proud to offer a wide range of products for all demographics and preferences. Their motto is flavoring life, and that's exactly something we can get behind. How about let's get tropical? They've got their tropical flavors that are incredible: guava, strawberry, kiwi, raspberry, orange, pina colada, and also you've got the orange creamsicle, which everybody around the PHNX office cannot stop telling me about. Orange creamsicle gummies. That's where it's at. You want to learn more about OGs? Just go to the website, ogsbrands.com. See everything that OGs Brands has to offer. That's OGEEZ brands.com.
We will be back tomorrow with another episode of PHNX Cardinals. Again, become a member at gophnx.com. 50 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent month, or you become a member for the full year for just under $60. Cop a free t-shirt from our PHNX merchandise locker, like this bad boy right here, the Bird Gang, the hat. It's really fresh, just under $30. Damien's rocking it. Bo's got a tee on. PHNX merchandise locker. Follow us on YouTube, PHNX Sports. And for Bo Brock, Damien Anderson, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're going to end the show today with a moment of silence for Jeff Gladney, passed away yesterday at the age of 25. Thanks, everybody.